I sat in the faded leather armchair of my parents' colonial-style home in suburban Connecticut, the kind of place where neighbors waved but never pried too deep. It felt foreign now, like stepping into a memory that had soured over time. The brass-framed photo on the bookshelf caught my eye, Grandpa Harold. His calloused hand on my shoulder at my MBA graduation from Yale. His crinkled smile full of real warmth. While Mom and Dad stood rigid beside us, their expressions more obligatory than joyful. "More coffee, Evelyn?" Mom asked, her tone forced and chipper as she lingered by the vintage sideboard. "No thanks." I adjusted the hem of my tailored gray pantsuit, chosen that morning as armor subtle, sharp, a signal that I wasn't the compliant daughter anymore. Dad cleared his throat from a spot by the stone fireplace, one hand gripping the mantel like he owned the room. He shot Mom a glance, quick but heavy with meaning. I'd seen that look growing up, right before the hammer fell. Across from me, my brother Dylan twisted his cufflink, his leg bouncing with anxiety. His gaze kept flicking to the thick green folder on the oak coffee table between us, a bead of sweat tracing down his neck in the cool autumn air. "Let's cut to the chase," Dad said, dropping into his recliner like a CEO calling a board meeting. "We're here to talk about Grandpa's estate." The word estate lingered like smoke. 3 months after Grandpa Harold's passing, and this was the first they'd broached it. Mom perched on the couch edge, fingers knitted tightly. "Family sticks together." "Evelyn," she started, her voice polished from years of PTA speeches and charity galas. "In tough times, we share the load." I spotted the new sapphire bracelet on her wrist, sparkling under the lamp, odd for someone who'd been complaining about tight finances. "The problem is," Dylan jumped in, his voice cracking like thin ice, "I'm in deep shit." "What kind?" I kept my tone even, but my pulse ticked up. He raked a hand through his hair. "Gambling. I owe $420,000. The figure hit like a gut punch, not vague, but exact. The kind that screamed real danger. "These aren't bookies from Vegas," he went on, staring at the floor. "They're the type who don't wait politely." Dad pushed the folder toward me. "We've got a plan, a family trust to pool everything temporarily, just to get Dylan out of the hole." My hand stayed put. Instead, I flashed back to Grandpa's den. Me at 12, hunched over his antique chessboard from his Navy days. "Always plan 3 moves ahead, Evie," he'd said, eyes sparkling as I pondered my rook. "Life's no different. The easy play's often a trap." Now, scanning their faces, Dad's fake assurance, Mom's rehearsed worry, Dylan's raw desperation, I saw the snare clear as day. "I'll need to review this," I said calmly, ignoring the internal sirens. Dad's brow furrowed. "Time's short, Evelyn. These guys aren't patient." "We've consulted our lawyer," Mom added, standing abruptly. "I brewed your favorite herbal tea, chamomile with a touch of honey." She handed me a mug I never really liked. Dylan leaned in. "They threatened me, Evie. Said they know my routines. Our folks' address. One mentioned how quiet the neighborhood is at night." His voice broke, pulling at old sibling strings. But I held firm. I took the folder but didn't flip it open. "How exactly does this trust work?" "Just a restructure," Dad replied too fast. "Temporary oversight under the family umbrella for safety." "Give me 30 minutes, I said, rising. "I need to make a call." "Who now?" Mom's facade cracked. "My financial advisor, for tax angles." A white lie, but smooth. Dad's jaw clenched. "This stays in the family." "Precisely," I shot back. "And I'll protect it." I walked to Grandpa's study with steady steps, their stares burning my back. Inside, I shut the heavy maple door and exhaled, long and steady. The room was untouched, shelves of leather-bound ledgers from his accounting firm days, a faint whiff of his pipe tobacco clinging like a ghost. I traced the desk's scarred edge. Then texted my attorney. Lisa Ramirez, they're pushing. Reply instant, trust locked. Stick to plan. Relief cooled me like a breeze. I grabbed my sleek black binder, stuffed with papers Lisa and I had prepped over months. Touching Grandpa's chest set, I whispered thanks for the lessons in foresight. Shoulders squared. I returned to the living room, where they waited like actors off script. 3 months earlier, at the wake in our backyard, manicured lawn dotted with black-clad guests, I'd felt choked in my simple sheath dress. Through the window, I saw Dylan at Grandpa's desk, pocketing something slyly. Not mournful but calculated. I ditched the condolences crowd and crept inside. Voices from the kitchen. The main cabin should be easy to flip, Dad said. Harold kept perfect books. Mom hushed him. Not today, Richard. But we need to act fast within weeks. While it's all settling affairs. That place alone covers our loans. I froze on the stairs. Not grief hitting but betrayal. Cold and sharp. My phone buzzed, a work sympathy note, but Grandpa's final words echoed, guard what's real. Evie. Not everyone gets worth. I'd thought he meant his vintage coin collection. His hobby post-retirement. Now it clicked he'd seen through them. 2 days later. In a quiet diner off I-95. Far from their country club crowd. I met Lisa. Her no-nonsense blazer and steady eyes screamed reliable. You think they'll liquidate fast? She drummed her pen. I know. I played the kitchen recording softly. Lisa's face stayed neutral. Classic, kids treating inheritance like a ATM. Let's lock it down now. In a week. We set up the irrevocable Harold Whitaker Legacy Trust. I signed stacks in her Hartford office. The pen scrape oddly empowering. The main lakeside cabin where he'd taught me to fish went in first. Then the Connecticut farmhouse for summer escapes. Stocks. Bonds. His coin collection. Each appraised and logged. Don't forget the 1913 Liberty head nickel, I told Lisa. It was his prize. Passed down generations. Its rare mint mark a family secret. But at the bank vault, the slot was empty. That night, scouring his journals, overlooked by Dylan, I found details, scratches. Wait. History. Hartford has pawn shops galore. I hit 19 before spotting it in a dingy spot on the east side. Reeking of stale deals. Looking for a nickel, 1913 Liberty, I said to the grizzled owner. His eyes sharpened. He fetched it from the back. There it was, the familiar patina. The tiny nick from Grandpa's drop years ago. How much? $12,500. He smirked. Guy who pawned it said family heirloom. Tall. Fidgety. Fancy watch but broke vibe. Dylan. Spot on. I paid cash. Each bill a stab of rage, not just theft, but erasure of legacy. The coin felt solid in my hand. Its value beyond dollars. That night, I clutched it. Its cool metal a reminder, time exposes lies. But action beats waiting. Now, in a bustling Boston cafe, I met Tom Ellis, Grandpa's old bookkeeper. At a back booth, he shredded a napkin nervously, half standing as I approached. Evelyn, you remind me of your grandma now. I sat, placing a thin file down, reviewing Grandpa's books, some gaps. Can you help? He froze. Figured this'd come. Did you? Harold fretted about his coins after he passed. Coffee came. I gripped the mug. 3 pieces vanished 4 years back, the Barber dime set. The Morgan dollar proofs. The St. Gaudens gold. I tapped the file. Insurance claimed flood damage. Tom slumped. No flood. Your parents sold them. The words punched me. Though suspected. I studied my hands. Harold grieved them hard. Called me nights, blaming himself for storage. $82,000. Tom's eyes met mine. That's what they fetched. Dylan had debts then too, smaller, but growing. I recalled that winter, Grandpa withdrawn, staring at empty display cases. Did he know? Suspected, but couldn't face his own son doing it. Why stay silent? Tom's voice cracked with regret. I was just the numbers guy. Cowardly excuse. Why me now? He slid a note, Grandpa's handwriting. Watch for Evie if things go sideways. She sees true. More followed, a flash drive of transfers, appraisals, dates. For hours, Tom detailed the slow bleed of Grandpa's collection. Fury built. Not hot but icy. Honing my resolve. In my car, I called Lisa. They've been looting for years to cover Dylan. Changes nothing, solidifies. For weeks, we built the dossier, every theft, forgery, lie, bound in leather. The showdown came swift. Back in the living room, I laid out my binder. Before your plan, see this. Documents spread, trust papers, transfers, seals. What the hell? Mom peered. The Harold Whitaker Legacy Trust, irrevocable. Set post-funeral. Dylan blinked. Meaning, assets safe from you. Dad paled. Then erupted. Scattering papers. No, right? We'll fight this. You've robbed us. Mom wept theatrically. Your own blood. Dylan gaped. But my debts? They'll come for us. I sat unmoved. Storm swirling. Not my mess. Nor Grandpa's. Dad lunged verbally. But I cut. Sit? He did. Stunned. I placed the pawn ticket down. From East Side Pawn. They had the Liberty nickel. Owner described you. Dylan. His face collapsed. Meant to redeem it. With what? More lies. I pulled Tom's records. And the damaged coins? Sold for $82,000 to bail you before. Dad sputtered denials. Eyes guilty. You've spied. Uncovered rot. I leaned in. I know it all fraud. Exploitation. Will sue. Please, discoveries public. Elder abuse. Evasion. The threat landed. Silence fell. Grandpa deserved loyalty, I said. Gathering files. The room shrank under exposed deceit. I left them shattered. The doors click final. The burden of truth was heavy. But it straightened my spine. Grandpa would have nodded. 3 days on. A business card on their kitchen table. Victor Hale. Estate litigator. From the garden. Unseen. I watched Mom dial. Intuition or Grandpa's ghost drew me. Later. To Lisa, they lawyered up. Predictable. Trust's bulletproof. He'll spot the priors? And warn them off, criminal risk. My phone buzzed endlessly, Dylan pleading. Threats veiled. Mom emailed subtly, family's heir from love. Dad's heart acting up meat. Elegant ploy. But transparent. I drafted my terms. $52,000 for Dylan's 90-day rehab at New Horizons. $5,200 for parents' financial therapy with expert Paul Grant. My funds. Not trusts. Conditions strict. Comply or nothing. Expires in 7. Lisa called days later. They caved. Hale advised acceptance. No challenge. I pictured their defeat, Dad's rage. Mom's tears. Dylan's pleas crumbling to reality. Over? Assets yes. Family scars? Fresh. At my window. Harbor lights twinkling. I touched the nickel, legacy beyond blood. In values shared. A year later. In my corner office overlooking the Charles River. I filed the last trust report. The grant program for aspiring numismatists thrived, honoring Grandpa's passion. 6 new scholars funded, including a Vermont kid echoing my younger self. Dylan's text, final session done clean. Progress real. He clerked nights at a motel humble. Steady. Parents downsized to a modest condo in Rhode Island. Sessions stripping their pride. We talked sparingly, bridges mending slow. Trust fractured. At the main cabin. Alone. Restored beams gleaming. Coins displayed proudly for tours. Evening on the dock. Nickel in hand. Lake lapping. I whispered, values and integrity. Not stuff. The click as I pocketed it, steady as Grandpa's moral beat. My new circle, Lisa. Colleagues. Grantees, bound by principle. Not DNA. Stars emerged over pines. Thanks, Grandpa. The nickel's rhythm synced with my heart. Timeless.